Grab your pre-workout and turn up that volume. It is time for a new episode of the Powerlifter's Den with your host, Cam Smith. What's up, Powerlifter's Den family? Want to rep the podcast and look good while doing it? Check out my official merch store at plden.company.site. We've got tees, hoodies, beanies, hats, and more, and gear that'll keep you motivated in and out of the gym. Every purchase helps support me and the podcast and keeps the den growing strong. So whether you're hitting a heavy squat session or just lounging in style, we've got you covered. Head to plden.company.site and grab your merch today. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Powerlifter's Den, and welcome back to a brand new year. This will be the first episode of 2026. So to start off the year strong, I wanted to bring on someone who not only has put on some amazing meets over the past several years, but has performed at the top level and has set a couple all-time world records himself. So, Jordan, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Jordan Wong. I own a gym in Northport, Florida, Showcase Strength and Fitness. And as you said, we do put on powerlifting meets. I compete in powerlifting as well. I actually just did my own meet with everyone, which was fun. It was my 35th one since 2009. And just that's what I like to do. All those things that we just went over, that's like pretty much my life with the exception of family stuff and all that stuff. So
yeah, so I think to get started, before we kind of talk about the 35 meets, which is a lot of meets, I think I just hit my 10th one in October. So before that, I know you started in February 2009, but what kind of got you into the sport before that? Did you have a sports background, a friend that got you into it? Maybe just give us that story.
So zero sports background. I was actually probably one of the most unathletic kids. Just ended up being kind of strong, I guess. So when I was in the 6th, 7th grade, middle school, I had a friend that like skateboarded. And like I said, I was very unathletic and I was terrible at it. It took me weeks and weeks and weeks to do what people were doing at the skate park in like a day. But I think looking back that, the persistence to get better at something I'm not good at really carried over to the rest of my life. And to get into powerlifting, I was always kind of like the fat kid growing up, like I was pretty chubby. And then I took a personal fitness class in 8th grade, I believe. No, it was the 8th grade. Yeah, it was the 8th grade. It was a required course. And we had to like do the handheld body fat test, all these fitness tests. I was like, wow, I'm fucking fat. But I always knew that. But it was like at the end of the class, I had to retake the test. And there's no way I was like, well, I'm not going to go through. It was 2 quarters. So pretty much half the school year and not make any progress, look stupid. And that's when I started learning about like nutrition, like on my own, just going to websites. And I couldn't drive yet. So my workout routine was my dad had a curl bar at home. So I would just do barbell curls and push-ups every other day. Once I got my license, I went to the YMCA and I just kind of fell in love with lifting weights. And when I get into something, I really get into it. I'm that guy that goes online, reads everything, tries a bunch of stuff, educates himself. And we all started on bodybuilding.com and back then at least. And I found a powerlifting strongman subsection and learned about like what a total was. And everyone's talking about that 1,000-pound total. I was like, well, I want to try it. And didn't even know you could compete. And then I posted a question and there's a guy in there that helped everyone out. His name was Bill Newman. Isiku 900 on the forum. And he sent me to powerliftingwatch.com, showed me all the meets. I picked one. My mother and grandma were like, are you sure? They didn't know what to expect. And I didn't know either. And I went and did it. And turns out like whatever natural talent I had, I was pretty good at it. So I was told that by a few people. I had fun doing it. And I just used that baseline and just kept going meet to meet to meet. And here we are.
Yeah, and so from that point on, like you were saying, bodybuilding.com kind of has its own little history. And as long as like the old West Side crew, like Dave Tate had his forum back then, and I forget the name of the other forum, but like there's so many different avenues. Like over time,
Outlaws.
What was it?
Outlaws.
Yeah, and
I'm a fan of Tampa Barbell.
And like over time, you can see like the evolution of like how people can find it, and so it's kind of cool to see like for bodybuilding.com to see people find powerlifting through there. And like nowadays, I feel like it's more just kind of catered to Instagram. You're like, you see someone lifting or everyone's posting all their totals and stuff. You're like, this looks fun. And back then you didn't really get to see the footage like that.
And it's funny when you think about it. So back then we had you would actually go out and look stuff up. So like bodybuilding.com, that's where you bought your protein powder, bought your creatine. And then when you come across the website, there's just 6 exercises to make your shoulders bigger. And you go down that rabbit hole. And then you end up on the forum. But the cool thing about the forum is you actually had to physically, or not physically, but go out and ask the questions, get responses from real lifters. Real lifters put their training logs and they update it every day so you can see what they're doing. And if they were someone that was really into it, they gave like their own feedback to themselves. You could just kind of shoot the shit with them in their own training logs, send them messages. And now, like you said, you go on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that, you see the videos, you probably see someone trying to sell you something, you kind of see someone just showing off, but there's no like community to make each other actually better.
Yeah.
So looking back, it's kind of just thought of that now. It's actually better back then in a sense.
Yeah, so like, I was just kind of going along the lines of like, yeah, I wish there was some sort of like forum, kind of like the old days, where it's more of like the community. Because for me and for a lot of us, powerlifting community is the biggest part of the sport and the reason why we all love it so much. But I think there's a lot of disconnect when you're just kind of seeing what people are lifting rather than like someone talking about it on a forum, like, oh, I had an absolutely terrible day and like this is what I did wrong, like this is what you should do. It's more just like, here's my PR, like everybody go look at it.
Yeah, and plus in today's world, everything's built on speed, right? So like we message each other back and forth, whatever. Instagram is just instant. With the forum, you have to go back and refresh to see if your thread got bumped, if anyone replied. Yeah.
Yeah, and so from kind of discovering it then, what was the process from there getting you onto the platform?
So pretty much, like I said, I went to powerliftingwatch.com. It connected me to the APA, which connected me to a Tampa meet in Pitbull Gym, which there's a lot of Florida lifters that are still around. Like even if they're not lifting anymore, they spot at meets. So they have friends that do it. It's pretty cool like that. So they all remember if they've been around for some time. And I just kind of looked up the rules. Couldn't really pay for anything myself yet. So I'd have like my mom or grandma or grandparents like pay for it, get me a hotel room. We went up to Tampa because it's about an hour and a half north of here. Didn't really know what to expect. I just kind of just went in and did it. And of course, like I said, I had the resources from the forum and there were guys kind of helping me out with like, what do you, with openers and warm ups and all that. But there's nothing like actually going there and doing it to get the real education.
Yeah, and with that meet experience, is that something when you kind of finish that meet, you're like, this is me now, this is what I'm doing, or did it take a few?
Yeah, I just wanted to do another one. So there was another one. I think it was, I have a weird memory, but I think February 7th was the first one I did, and like April 9th was the next one I did. So it was a pretty quick turnaround. Like back then, there was no like meet preps or training cycles. You kind of just went and lifted. And then, fortunately, at each meet, I met people like in the state that kind of helped me out at the meets. And then back in my first meet, I met Chad Walker. He was a very good multi-ply lifter back in the day, like top 3 in the world. And he turned out to live in the same town as me. And kind of got the invite, but I was kind of like, well, these guys are really fucking good. I suck. And then I lost his phone number. And then I ran into him at Buffalo Wild Wings the night after I lost my phone. And we kind of just set it up. And that kind of really launched me into the next stage of powerlifting.
Yeah, and so I guess with the I'll ask the obvious question as a multiply lifter, how come you didn't get coerced into throwing on some gear?
So I kind of thought it would go that way because in 2009, 2010, like that's all it was. I was usually one of the only raw guys doing it, but they just didn't really give a shit. They're like, yeah, if you want to lift raw, lift raw. And I I kind of had the aspirations to do it for a little bit, but I kind of just had those goals for like raw lifting, and I was just on a pretty good track to them. And I put on a pair of briefs once, I think, after I hit a 630 squat raw. I did like 700 because my squat's very, I've been told my squat's very good for gear, my squat style. And then I put a bench shirt on once, and it was like a big single ply shirt, and I just matched my raw bench, and it was just like, well, it's fun, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, and as you kind of continued to progress, at what point did you sort of go from that kind of amateur world of like just like I'm competing for fun, I think I'm trying to do this, to like, all right, this is kind of serious now. Like we're starting to look at the pro meets, like this is kind of my main focus in life.
So let's see, the only, I'm using quotations, the pro meet back then was the Raw Unity meet, and that was fortunately very close to me, like because it was always in that Tampa area. It eventually moved to Port St. Lucie, and that's when it started to die out after that. But I kind of made it a goal of mine to hit the qualifying total and go to Raw Unity. So like I trained my ass off to hit a, like, it's crazy. It's funny saying this because how different the standards are. But 1503 at 220 back then got me on the platform there. So like, yeah, and I finally hit that after pretty much like being obsessed with that number for about 4 or 5 months. I jumped from like 1430 to that. Did Raw Unity, had my first bad meet where like went like 6 for 9 or something like that and didn't PR my total, which was a big motivator. And then I just kind of progressed through. And I think my first modern day pro meet was probably shit, actually Boss of Bosses, but I had to do bench only because I injured my back pretty bad shortly before it. And that was 2015.
Yeah, so actually, I think this is a good little segue. We could talk about that back injury. I know you kind of went through some different injuries, but in 2015, it was the big injury. So maybe walk us through that, what kind of happened, and how that journey was.
Yeah, it was really odd. So 2015, I did a Raw Unity again. I think it was number 7 in DeLand. And I had a really bad meet. Like, it was one of those times in my life where just super high stress. And I never really dealt with that before because I was like always pretty young. I was kind of growing up into bullshit. Not into bullshit, but like just had shit going on.
Yeah.
And did so bad at that meet. And I got very frustrated. I was like kind of like a fat 242. I just did that thing where I was eating everything I could, thinking that would be well. And I squatted 727. And then the world record at 220 was 783 by Dan Green. So like from February to May, I was like, I'm just gonna break that world record. I'll go on a diet. And then somehow I fucking did it. Like kind of crazy. And after that, I just hit the ground running. I was like, all right, well, I want to go back and just beat this a little bit because Amit Sapir, I think, broke it shortly after I did. So I wanted to get it back. Gave myself like really no time. But then all of a sudden, like my back started like giving out randomly. And like Chad's wife, I remember specifically one day I did like a front squat workout. And she had to come out and untie my shoes for me
Oh wow.
because I couldn't even move. I like laid on her floor for like an hour, but then I got better. And then all of a sudden I woke up one morning and I was just like paralyzed, like just a random ass day, like no warning signs because I felt pretty good by then. And then my left leg went out. I had drop foot. They did an MRI, the whole like L4, L5, L5, S1, the one like all the bad back injuries are. But the jelly was leaking out. The nerve was all fucked. Compression fracture in the sacrum. Severe spinal stenosis. Like I have no idea how it happened.
Yeah.
I can just guess it was accumulation, and improper movement and all that stuff. Just kind of hitting the ground running at a young age. And then I just took some time and really did nothing. And I got invited to lift at the animal cage once I started to feel kind of good to lift again. And somehow I got back up to like a 750 squat in like a couple months. And everything's been pretty good since then, except for the pec and the knee and stuff. But nothing not, like the pec took a lot longer than the back, but the back was just the most painful and like scary thing because like literally paralyzed.
Yeah, so you basically just kind of took some time off and it was able to recover that way, and you didn't go through like the whole
Yeah.
ringer of like, oh, I got to go to PT and then the chiropractor, then the cortisone shots. Because I have a herniated L5 S1 something like that that I haven't
Mhm.
luckily have problems with, but I like did it on like a rack pull when I think I was like 18. I'm pretty sure it
Yeah.
was like 365, and there was a point where it was so bad I couldn't even like touch my knees, and I went through that whole ringer. I went through like 4 different chiropractors, did PT, and then finally got a cortisone shot and it helped a lot, and I was kind of able to build up from there. But so it's kind of crazy that you're able to just get better that
Yeah.
way.
So it hurt so bad. So my dad, he's in the medical field. He's like your typical like old school Chinese guy. Thinks like everything in medical field shit, right? And he got me in with a neurosurgeon, and they basically said like, yeah, you need like emergency surgery this weekend. And I was in so much pain. I was like, fuck, just cut it out. And they were telling me in the office like, once it's done, it's that whole typical like, oh, you won't lift shit. But I'm not going to be that guy that's like, I'll show you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, it's stupid. But I was fortunately pretty good friends with Brian Carroll at the time when he was coming back from his back injury. He got me a call with Stu McGill. Stu did a Skype because it was Skype back then. We Skyped together, and he pretty much just said like, "Hey, just don't do anything for a bit. Um, move from your hips, walk as much as you can, and don't load the spine until like he basically said just don't do shit."
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So it wasn't even like I did the McGill Big Three every day. It was nothing like that. I just literally just did nothing, got out of shape. Um, was too honestly too scared to do shit, but I just decided one day I think I'm good to go. I loaded up a plate, and since then, felt like nothing ever happened.
Yeah. And at what point did you, like, obviously you had to progress a little bit and kind of get the strength back, but at what point did you like get under a weight and that was like, you're confident enough to like kind of push yourself again?
Um, Pretty damn quick actually, and it probably wasn't the smartest thing, but like I said, I got invited to the animal cage, so I went like 275 for 5 on week 1, and then I worked up to like maybe like mid threes a couple weeks later. Then I got the call about the cage. It's like, all right, well, I guess what we're gonna do is every other week we're just gonna load up something heavy and squat it for a single, and it worked. It's I have no fucking clue how, but from probably the cage was in March, probably early January to March, I went from like 300 low 300s, mid 300s to that 750 there, and it was like I never lost a step.
Yeah, and it's like that's incredible to be able to just to do that. And um obviously I everyone knows McGill, and like if that's what he says to do, I mean I would listen to him too. So
Yeah, and it's funny too because now it's pretty much the opposite. That it's like move as much as you can. Maybe not so much in the severe like back injury I had, so it might be a little different. But like even my chiropractor at the time, he's still my chiropractor when I go see him. But he's a very honest chiropractor. He's not the guy that says, "Hey, dude, come back 3 times a week." Like
yeah.
I walk him, he's like, "Look, dude, like there ain't shit I can do. I'll write you an MRI. Let me know how it goes." And then when I told him I had to call a Stu, he was like, "Oh shit, like just listen to him." And yeah, but like now, like again, I said it's probably not so much for the back injuries and stuff like I had, but like muscle strains and stuff. I was always under the impression from that experience, like just don't do anything. But now we know like you want to do a lot.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of injuries, I know you tore the pec tendon, so and you
Yeah.
it was a bad tear. I've had some like couple pops and stuff, and even just dealing with that for like 6 to 8 weeks of fucking figuring that out, getting those scaps moving, all that bullshit was annoying enough. So tell us about that recovery and how that happened.
Well, I have a lot of like I have a lot of theories because back in early 2020, I had this it seems very similar to Joe Sullivan's. Something happened with the neck, left tricep shut off for a very long time, left lat shut off. I was approaching a 500-pound bench, and then before I knew it, I was like down to like 429, and then like 385, and then like instantly it was like 275,
Wow.
225. I could really lock out with my left arm, and as a result, I think my serratus really fell behind. So it was always all cockeyed like this. So I don't know if it was years of like coming down crooked or what that like kind of made this happen. But there was a few workouts where my pec just didn't feel awesome. And then I did the American Pro at 198. I had this ridiculous ambition of cutting 30 pounds, getting super lean before even cutting it wasn't 30, but like I dieted from like 235 to 217, got to like 9% body fat on a DEXA scan. I was like, all right, well, I'll just cut 20 more pounds to make 198 and drive myself out, et cetera, et cetera. Felt good during warm-ups. I remember telling Shane Holler, like, hey, my bench is actually feeling good. My pec's fine. And I blew it on 385,
Yeah,
100 pounds less than my best bench. But I kind of think the cut kind of I think it escalated the process. I'm glad it happened on the platform, safest place it could have happened.
true.
Um, yeah, but I did the whole 198 thing thinking I could potentially break the world record there. But I got to be a little bigger to lift well. And went and got surgery, started working with Seth Albersworth. And honestly, it was a very good decision because he, unfortunately, but fortunately, went through the same thing prior to mine. So he just used his experience and his already knowledge, and we kind of got back up.
Yeah, and for when I talk a lot with Ben Paula, Coach P, as many people know him, and he was helping me through the pec stuff as well. And one of the big things that he mentioned was too is like the hydration factor is huge with
Yeah,
belly tears and things like that. Obviously, ripping off the tendon and the bone and stuff is a little more aggressive, but um, when you just have that low sodium and all your electrolytes are off, like it's just things aren't firing correctly. Things are like the
yeah,
antagonist muscles. So like when you already, like you said, you were down to 9% already, like you're already pretty dry. So cutting that extra weight definitely could have been one of the major factors at play there.
yeah. Like you could refeed as much as you want. Like I got up to 230 pounds, man. I took 3 IV bags in the course of 24 hours, gallons of sodium and stuff. But does it really like what's it called? Like go to where it needs to be? You know what I mean? And like really, I forgot to say this before. The surgeon actually filmed the surgery.
Oh shit.
It's pretty cool. But he was talking about it in the video how like there was a pre-existing tear. Like I just finished the job. He's like, from my understanding, they had to go in and kind of undo some healing and then reattach it. So yeah, it was
And
already starting to go.
yeah, and for that, like with the injuries you've had, obviously the back injury, you said you kind of just was able to ramp it up quick, but for getting that bench back, was that something that was kind of anxiety inducing for you, or is it something that you did it slow enough to where you were confident the whole time? Or
It was a full time job. I wanted to come back quick. I saw Seth come back quick. He was so good at communicating with me, where like every day he would send me just even if it was something simple as like, I just want you to bend today and do this, and like it goes against everything the doctors tell you, right? And I'm assuming it's probably because like typical practices, liability, stuff like that. They can't just say like, yeah, just recover. But I've heard stories of people with the same injuries not be able to bench like a plate for almost a year. I was at my surgery is November 29th, I believe, somewhere around there, something like that. Who cares? But it was like November 20. I don't fuck it. But by Christmas Day, I benched a PVC pipe, and then a couple months later, I was at a plate again, and it was terrifying. Like I remember everything I had to do to progress. I was just like pouring sweat. Um, yeah, and then at a certain point, I just had to stop being scared and had to trust it. And once I started to trust it, I kind of felt like my old self, um, which has taken a long time. Like I did the Ghost Clash earlier this year in April, bench 418, which is the most I've done in a long time,
mhm.
even because the nerve stuff. And then this past December, well, I guess a few weeks ago, I did 435, almost like an opener, which was kind of crazy to me because I'm almost approaching, in my opinion, like all-time PR status.
Yeah.
And I never thought I'd get there again just because of the nerve injury, let alone the pec.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the almost blessing in disguise about some of these major injuries when people come back from is you almost address a lot of things that were so minor before that have an overall huge impact. Like even if it's something like weak scap muscle or like a serratus, and it's stuff that when you're just kind of rehabbing the main injury, you're actually focusing on all that little stuff that you just ignored for years, anyways.
Yeah, and Seth is very big on I don't want to speak for him, but for my interpretation, very big on being able to maintain strength or build strength through other movements, like even just machine work. So obviously I couldn't bench like I used to bench, like volume and frequency wise. And I really think that's how I got my bench back is just doing enough to build the skill back up, getting the strength up slowly, loading the pec slowly, but running more than I've ever ran on the chest fly machines and the standing chest press and just really like train the shit out of dumbbells. And it really worked. And I think like just to give myself credit here, I think my willingness to treat that rehab as like a full-time job and be super patient is what helped because if I rushed it back, would I really want to go start over, you know?
Yeah,
And
and
I think that's where people miss is the patience that it requires in some cases.
for sure, especially that powerlifting mindset of like, yeah, we're going to be back quick, but the people that come back better are the ones who actually are able to reel themselves back and take that time and, like you said, be patient with it.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, come back better. I mean, I've had a lot of downs since 2016, and Yeah, not that kind. Since 2016, and now I finally feel like I might like I'm actually pretty confident that by the end of 2026 I'll have like an all-time PR total,
Hell yeah.
which is a long time coming, literally 10 years.
Yeah. And so while we're on that topic, we'll kind of move to the fun stuff. We'll talk about the all-time squat record. Let's talk about
Mhm.
maybe when you started getting your eyes on that and tell us about when you did it.
Yeah, so the Raw Unity they did in Port St. Lucie, I think that was 7. Yeah, because I think I referred to another one as 7. It's when Animal sponsored it. Andre Milanichev came, squatted 10 14 in reps. That was like the biggest thing you could see. Um, I did it at like 242. And I just knew I was like a puffed up 242. And it's really funny. There's this photo of me sitting by my mom and grandpa, like almost looking cocky, but this is the way it came out. Like I'm sitting here like this while Dan Green squats that 783 record, almost like me saying, like in the picture, I'm going to do that one day. But really, that day, I was like, I really want to do that one day. Like I know I can be a 220. I'm good at squatting. I was like a 744 squatter consistently around that time. And that's when I really honed in on that goal. And then when I had that bad meet the following year, is like, you know what, I just need something like to really obsess over. And that's kind of what I did for that first one.
Yeah, and as far as the record goes, just like thinking about the progression of the sport as a whole, it's just insane to see how much it's progressed because, like you said, Dan Green had it was 783. Now you look at it, it's Tyler Williamson's 854, and I wouldn't be surprised if sometime next year he squats 900.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know he just went for I think 881 at 42,
Yep.
but honestly, like he looked like it seems like he had a weird first couple of attempts. I
Yeah.
saw his post on it. He'll definitely do the 242 record.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'd break his own 220. But yeah, like you said, 782 now is probably top 10, maybe even worse. Yeah.
And as far as the progression of the sport goes, obviously you've been in it since 2009 and you've gotten to see just the total shift. But in terms of the culture itself, what are some of the major things that you've seen for the better and kind of seen for the worse?
For the better, I think it's even though you have to kind of vet some things, there's just so much more information out there, people willing to help. And I know like people always bitch about everyone's going to be a coach now. Like it doesn't fucking matter. Like if the people who aren't quote unquote good coaches, like like they might make some money at first, but their service delivery is probably not going to be that good. And then eventually they kind of fall off, right? You can tell who's just trying to make a buck and who's actually good at what they do.
Yeah.
So I think just having that wide array of information is good. But again, at the same time, Stan Efferding calls them assholes. You have so many of those that look at everything. So it's like if this is not working for them in this amount of time, they want to go on to the next thing instead of taking this amount of time, which is probably what's going to be the answer. Or they're not very objective with themselves, like on their lifestyle factors, blah 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 blah. Another way that I think has progressed in a positive way is just there's so many more lifters in the sport now, and that just makes it so much more fun.
Yeah.
Um, I know there are a lot of people that like around my age or whatever that prefer like how it used to be, and and I can see why. But in the end, all the bullshit we see is on the internet. When you go to a real powerlifting meet, that shit's not real,
Yeah.
and that's what real powerlifting is. And not to like toot my own horn, but like the king and queen of the platform meets I put on, I try to make it like new school and old school meet where it's just like a cool venue, loud ass music, not super micromanaged from any level, solid judging, but just like a fun time rather than the spectacle of it and like, hey, this is a pro meet. Because not to knock on meets that do that, I prefer it one way, and luckily there's a population of people who agree, and that's why they keep filling up.
Yeah, and before we kind of dive into that, as you're saying, like the whole meet experience, like when you watch a meet or you see people post their meet recaps and stuff of the meet, I feel like what you see online is so different from what, like, even if you were to compete at a meet, like if I pick a meet that I just did or recently, it's like that. What I see online is not how I remember the experience there. It was so much more
Yeah,
fun there. Like on here, it's people are just judging the lifts themselves rather than like the entirety of the meet.
yeah, and really when you're looking at like powerlifting spectatorship as a whole, like they're looking at like the top ranked guys, like, oh, holy shit, he did this, he did this, he did this. To me, that's great. But like real powerlifting is getting like your, I'm gonna put it in quotations, like your average lifter that hits a PR. Like at my meets, like you have the mother of three that does her second meet ever and hits a 40-pound squat PR. Like that's so much cooler than me to see like even like some of my best friends, right? Like
Yeah.
Craig Foster squatting 1,000 plus. Like that's awesome. It's crazy to see in person.
Yeah.
The internet doesn't know justice, but like we see that a lot. Like you don't like when you like see these little micro wins from people that no one really know. It's so much cooler.
Yeah. And I'll never forget when I was talking to Dave Tate of like the idea of like when you kind of get so deep involved in the sport and you're in like the pro scene and you're starting to worry about all these records and all that, like kind of reel yourself back and humble yourself. Go to like a local meet and watch like that 18-year-old kid pull 405 for the first time. Or like you said, that single mom doing her first meet and going 9 for 9. Like those are the things that make powerlifting fun, and that's what makes it the community.
Yeah, and I kind of think once some lifters get to a certain point, and I'm kind of speaking for myself, like I'm at the like level where I can do the pro meets and all that. And I've done them all. Like literally all every single one since 2017. I've done every like major one except the Pioneer one. Um, the local meets are so much more fun. And like I did King of the Platform. I was barely able to really train effectively for it. I popped my hamstring, all this bullshit. And had the best meet I've had in years. Had so much fun doing it. Like one, because it's like my hometown. I slept like, yeah, all my friends were there. But that's on top of like running the meet, coaching 30 lifters over the weekend, running the weigh-ins, help with the transport. But despite all that, it's still the most fun I had at a meet. And I was talking to Shane Holler about it afterwards. I was like, dude, like I'm hitting like that point where I don't have much more in me in terms of what I need to do
Yeah.
to get better. So I know my time's a little limited. I'd rather do these local fun meets, whether it's mine or like there are a few dudes doing a meet up the street, than travel to like Chicago for the power surge, which is an awesome meet. I've done it, but I just have so much more fun now just sticking around. Like my kid was able to go. That was awesome. I don't have to worry about my friends and family traveling. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
fuck that.
it's almost kind of like the position. It's like if you can't go out there and win some money to at least cover the trip, it's like almost not worth it to like you want to get that few first, like, oh, I did my pro meet, I was able to do this at a pro meet and like kind of get to meet
Yeah.
those top guys. But after a little bit, you're like, well, there's this local meet. I could with the same standards, I can go hit the same total, but I don't have to travel. My friends and family can come. Like there's way less pressure.
Yeah. And personally, I like being around all the powerlifting and not just the quote unquote pro powerlifting. It's like I've done multiple of the ghost clashes. Like they're great meets, but like the people in the warm up room, they're cool. Like, but it's a lot cooler being around like everyone. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and like the first thing that comes to mind is just like a local RPS meet or something like that. Like those are fun meets, and like that's why I always say if you want to like your first meet, like go RPS. It's always going to be a great experience.
Yeah, my meets are RPS. No one
Exactly.
even knows that. Like, it's funny because the we could probably talk about this more when we talk about the meets, but people don't give a fuck about the federation.
No.
Like you have your like tested zealots and whatever. Like they're not bad people, but they won't give other shit a chance
Yeah.
because they think everyone's cheating or like cheating, whatever. But like they're not going to win anyways. But I don't, you know what I mean.
Exactly.
And then you have people that are super loyal to like I'll just throw feds out there, the USPA, what's that one now? The PLU. Like who gives a shit? Like as long as the meets ran well, like in my opinion, solid judging and like a fun time, just do that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
on top of that too, I think the most important thing for meat selection is the meat director themselves. And like that's why I think
Mhm.
you guys like you run a great meat there. Alex Omond up here, he runs great RPS meets. Like
Yeah.
all some like my friends that are the IPA state chairs up in this area, they run great meets, and it's like I kind of pick my meets based on like the not the federation, but the person running the meet because that's what
Mhm.
dictates how well the meet's going to go, like the experience, how much fun you're going to have. It doesn't the title they slap on top of it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. It's like, do you want to be there till 7 at night pulling your last pull because you're taking an hour break between each lift, or do you want to go home at 4 o'clock with the same amount of lifters? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how I look at it too.
Yeah. And before we dive into the king and queen of the platform meets, let's talk about the beginnings of the gym itself and how that came to be.
Yeah. So um, COVID hit March 2020. We're in Florida, so luckily the shutdowns happened a little late. Um, but I worked at a commercial gym called Around the Clock Fitness. I was a personal training manager. I recently got my own home, 3-car garage, had my own little gym in there. So when they sent us home, saying like, "Hey, like, we'll let you know when to come back," I actually we had a new trainer named Linda. She's been a friend of mine for years, and she was just starting to like catch her stride. So I was like, "Fuck!" Like, I don't want her to lose her people. Like, because I plan on myself, like, "Hey, I'm gonna see if I can get anyone to come. And I can just train them." And then I was like, "Linda, tell your people to come to my house, see if they're cool with it. They'll pay us under the table, or we can just stack it and check them in." Some shady shit, but we never ripped off the company. It was just like we were just delaying things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, then it kind of got out there when I had at my house, and like my Instagram was blowing up the DMs, like, "Hey, can I come over? Can I come over?" People I didn't know, and some of them are like now my best friends. But yeah, we had 50 people at my house daily because I had a sign-in sheet, and I had them pay like $5 or $10 a visit, or like 3 visits for. I made 8 grand in a month
Oh,
in
wow.
cash, like just for my garage. And we went back, and I think it was May, and so many people were like, "Hey, can I just come train at your house?" And I gave my garage code. I didn't give a shit. Fast forward to September, the corporation that bought out my gym, they went bankrupt, and then they kind of just fired us all on the spot, like on a meeting one night. So that night, I was just like, all right, fuck it, I'll just figure it out. Opened up. I think I signed a lease within a week. Um, Spent that month planning everything out. Luckily, I kind of always had it in the back of my mind. So when I wasn't training, when I had some free time, I was always like door dashing, Ubering, saving money up for the potential. And then I was going to get one unit, 1750 square foot, just to make like a training studio, maybe put some squat racks in there and have my friends pay me like enough to cover the rent.
Yeah.
And then my realtor, Joe Millsoggle, he used to be a powerlifting, he's a bodybuilder now. He's like, "Why don't you just get both of these? Because they're side by side." He's like, "Just make a big gym." I was like, how the fuck am I going to do that? But um, the lady who was a COO at the gym I was talking about, the company before, um, she made a comment to me because she was around all these people, like business guys. She's like, "I've noticed the ones that do really well aren't the smartest. They just have the biggest balls." And I was like, "Okay." I kind of took that into account. I said, "Let's just fucking do it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen?"
Yeah.
And then it just built, was doing pretty good. It's kind of breaking even for overhead, making my money off the trading. Then the Hurricane Ian hit us, destroyed it for 12 weeks, rebuilt it from scratch, improved the gym. That got us actually more people in because it was kind of getting hyped up from other people. And then we outgrew that, got into the place I'm in now last November, and we've grown a lot. And now it's just a well-oiled machine.
Yeah. And for you, what are some of the things that makes a gym successful
From what point? Like from my point of view, or from like a member's point of view?
from your point of view?
So obviously, being able to keep the doors open and make money. Um, I think I did a very good job at figuring that out pretty quick on how not to have your typical strength gym and just not make any money and have to work another job and all this stuff. So I figured that part out. Built a good personal training team. Um, there's a lot of things I didn't do, which like just marketing, being more involved and stuff. Which if I'm stuttering, if I did that, we'd probably be in a much better spot now. But we kind of it's with the ignorance tax, right? So we learn from that. Um, but yeah, just creating an environment, supplying good equipment, having good people represent the gym, having good people be in the gym. We kind of organically grew into a place where I could pretty much tell any prospective member, hey, like if I'm not here, just ask anyone in the gym how to do something and they'll help you out. And like I mean it too.
Yeah.
It's yeah, even if it's like a guy who's been here 2, 3 months, they kind of catch on pretty quick. Um, so yeah, just even though we had that reputation as maybe like a powerlifting gym, which might scare people off, this year we've been able to get it out there more on social media and stuff that is not just like that. Like we have kids camps and all that. Like we're just welcoming to all basically.
Yeah. And I
And
totally agree.
connecting.
As my friend John Rupo owns Evolve up here with me.
Oh yeah,
Not with me. I don't own it, but I
yeah,
train there. And one of the things that I think makes the gym so well and welcoming is that same idea of like a lot of the members there, whether they're a power lifter or just someone training in the gym, they're very comfortable asking like the familiar faces they see with help for things. And that's what makes the community at the gym so much better rather than you go to a commercial gym and there's 50 people with headphones in and it takes 15 minutes just to find someone that'll even spot you.
yeah. That's not here. I mean, there are gonna be times, obviously, when it's not very busy and it's like quiet here. No one turns on the speaker.
Yeah.
I hate that shit, by the way. But yeah, it's very rare that you'll see people just stick completely to themselves here, which is cool. I went to a gym that opened up in Miami. I'll just say a hybrid, right? They're fucking awesome facility, but when they opened up, I'll always remember. I actually went there because I was buying combo racks from Alex Huslar from their old location, and we trained at the new one. And I remember seeing like 6 combo racks or benches or whatever, all occupied by one person with a tripod and headphones in. I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Like again, it's not the gym's fault. It's just like the culture of like those kids that just keep to themselves. They won't train with anyone. Like, how the fuck are you gonna get better?
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
it's kind of funny too. It's like if you guys are all doing the same shit, like work in together, make it fun. Like that's what makes training fun.
yeah,
Why are you all by yourselves? If you guys all have a 3x3 RP8 bench or whatever the fuck it is, and you don't need 5 fucking combo racks, just work in together. I don't care if someone
yeah.
benches 200 pounds more than you. Like have fun.
And that's why they built the fucking combo rack so you can adjust the heights. And then obviously, like powerlifters don't really take the shortest rest time, so let someone work in,
Yeah.
give them a spot, talk to them. You'll learn from them. Trust me. Like I learn from everyone, no matter who the hell it is. Like there are 120-pound girls I see do shit here. I'm like, okay, that actually makes sense. So
Yeah. And from there, we'll talk about King Queen of the platform. The origins of that, what inspired you to do that, and what's made it such a successful meet.
So I started holding meets June of 2021. I just wanted to hopefully make enough money to pay a little bit of rent. Ended up doing a lot better than that. I had to move to 2 days. Uh, and it's not because of me. Like I know I had a part of it, but I had a really good team behind me, judging, helping set up, all that good stuff. So we put on a good one, and I want to put it on another one. And I want it to be like WWE themed, right? So like King of the Ring, King of the Platform, and that's how I came up with that. And then I don't remember how much money we gave out the first one. Like maybe it was like $1,000 each. I was able to get from sponsors, and then every year it just got a little better, a little better. King of the Platform 3, Shane Holler and Chad Penson did it, and we had a lot of strong females as well. But that kind of brought more eyes to it. I think I was able to raise 5,000 each to give to them. Um, then 4 got a little bigger. We had who was it? Like Barbara Lee come down. Sam Rice came down. Um, no, Barbara Lee was King of the Platform 3. She won. But yeah, you get the point.
Yeah.
And then this past one, 5, it's just like, holy shit, like who, like these guys are signing up. These girls are signing up. And then it just gains traction. I think my meets kind of had a good reputation for its environment and like catering to the lifters to a certain point. Yeah. And then again, the big money prizes help. I was able to do 26,000 total this year,
Wow.
and we're going to do that minimum next year as well. And I have to give credit to his name is Lance Brimage. He owns Zero Dark 30. It's like a media company, and he's everywhere. But when he comes to the meets, he'll put out clips 10 seconds after they happen,
Oh yeah.
and they go all viral. Like Sam Rice, I'm a collaborator on it. My phone still goes off,
Yeah.
like people commenting on it and shit like that. So that brings a lot of attention to it. And honestly, I just think in the end, it's just word of mouth. People have a good time. They talk about it. Who doesn't want to go to Florida in December for a meet? If you're going to travel somewhere, you can go somewhere with the sun, you know?
Yeah, and instead of asking you kind of the broad question of like what has made the meet successful, what are some of the things that you do as a meet director to kind of cater towards the lifter to make them feel like a welcomed athlete?
So I try to be, it's kind of funny. It's almost like on the selfish part, what actually worked out to help all, right? Um, so for my position, meet director and my staff and all that, like filling out the weigh-in cards, getting the rack heights and all that stuff. We expedite the process. I'll start sending out emails about 2, 3 weeks out. Hey, if you know your openers, let us know. And then they get here, they weigh in, and they're good to go. So like the weigh-in lines don't take forever. Um, for this past one, or the past couple meets I've had, I use Go High Level, which is a CRM that I use for my gym. So I put everyone's phone number in there. So they're constantly getting text messages. Like I can schedule the time, like, hey, remember, weigh-ins are at this location. This. So like it's just very, very like they're involved. It's something to just show up and go, I don't know.
Yeah.
They got really good feedback for this past one. I think this is a great idea, but every monolift had assigned people based on their openers, whether the arms are in or out. So there's no like clusterfuck around every monolift. So like everyone had like 4 to 7 assigned people, and that was their station. So it took like the guesswork out of it, made warms a little smoother. People really like that, I think. Just little things like that to help me actually help them. And then being someone that's done a lot of meets from everywhere, I feel like I know what people like and don't like.
Yeah. And another thing too is the raising the sponsorship money is obviously huge because that's kind of
Yeah.
how you get some of these people to travel. It's like they need the chance to be able to pay for their expenses there. And it kind of is one of those
Yeah.
things that's like unfortunate in the sport, but it's just kind of how life is. So for you, what are some of the maybe things you do or connections you have? Like what makes you be able to raise such a big fund for it?
So local businesses, literally, like you can reach out to. I'm not going to name any businesses, but like you can reach out to like huge business in the fitness industry, the powerlifting industry, whether it's clothes, equipment, whatever. Like, oh, I'll send you a gift card. I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
thanks, dude. And it's kind of weird to me because it's like if I owned a company, it's like I want to give back to the sport, right? Um, yeah, but for whatever reason, that's what it is. So what I do is I go to local businesses in my area, like Northport. I live in Northport, or something like Port Charlotte, Venice. A lot of people in my gym have businesses, know people with businesses, and I think we just put on such a fun event. And like the way they see it when they go and watch it, they like fall in love with it. So long story short is, well, like if I had I'll have a meat shirt in here, but you'll see like an AC company, you'll see mechanics, you'll see a mortgage broker, a real estate agent. They're throwing money into the pot. Um, we were fortunate enough to have a land services. They just do a lot of landscaping and stuff for commercial buildings. They became a title sponsor for this last one, so they paid a pretty good amount of money just to have their name on it, which helped a lot. Um, Wright Myers Land Services, and yeah, just that.
Yeah, and what are some of the things that you do that gets these companies to buy in? Because I'm sure there's plenty of companies I'm sure you've talked to that are like, "What the hell is powerlifting? What is this? Like, what?
Yeah.
How do you sell them on it?"
So basically, the different tiers, like the basic tier, which is like the bare minimum, it's like you have your logo on the banner, the t-shirts. And I always kind of talk up like I take the average social media impressions we've had from other meets and what we trend towards, how many followers I have, the other pages follow, how many people share. Um, so I do that aspect. And then like the next tier is like you can do all that and have a table. And I kind of build from there. But in the end, I think a lot of these companies know they're not going to get the biggest ROI.
Yeah,
They just like it so much and they just want to support it, which is awesome. But at the same time, our meets, despite having a lot of people travel for them, we have a lot of local lifters from the gym or surrounding gyms where they kind of know what's up. So it's like if they want to go to, if they need a massage, they'll go to the company that sponsors us for massage because they support the meet. So companies like that definitely have a good ROI, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, yeah, because like, and also at my gym, I have, because I'm looking as a cheat sheet, I have a whole bunch of banners around where like they paid a fee to have it up for life, or they pay a monthly fee. So all these local businesses are just all around my gym,
yeah,
and that helps as well.
yeah. And kind of now that since this is the first episode of 2026, we'll kind of I guess fuck the whole New Year's resolutions, but let's talk about some goals for this year. Whether it's some personal goals for you on the platform, or maybe some goals that you have going into the King of the Platform 6, or just the gym as a whole. Like what do you have in store for this year for you?
So I have it all categorized, right? So like on a personal level, no matter what, my platform shit always comes first, right? So like, I do want a total 2K finally. Since my arm's starting to work again, I'm finally in position to do that. I do want to break the all-time squat record one more time before I'm done. It's been right there, and I feel like I could probably get close to that point again. I just probably need a little luck to stay in one piece, because that's 854, so I need to chip that.
Yep.
My best is 826 from the second record, and then that's kind of it there. From a more personal standpoint, like outside the platform, it's like I do want to buy a house this year. Business is doing really good. I want to keep building the business. I did my numbers yesterday, year over year from 24 to 25, and then 25 to 26. We grew about 140%. So that was pretty cool to see.
That's awesome.
So I want to improve on that. As a gym, I just want to introduce about an average like 10 lifters per meet, so about 40 lifters to powerlifting. That's a big goal of mine as well, because we hold 4 meets throughout the year.
Yep.
And then I want to be able to build our personal training department up so all my trainers can make pretty damn good money. And obviously, if they didn't make good money, the gym's making good money. And from the event standpoint, I just want the King and Queen of the platform to finish the year off as one of the premier meets, and just kind of keep building from there. Obviously, I want to make it past 10, so we got a ways to go after 6. But if we can keep it growing, I think I could probably do something pretty cool for the sport by at least King and Queen Platform 10.
Yeah, and I do have a couple questions about that meet, but backtracking a little bit with that 2,000 total goal, is that something you think is just kind of the way things are progressing, or is there like what do you think it's going to take?
So honestly, if you took all my best numbers, if you want to play that game, like I'd be well past it, I think. So my best dots meet was 1945 at 220. That was with like a 402 bench. I was consistently at like 473 before the nerve shit. So now that the bench is coming back, I really just need to match my squat and deadlift and kind of make it official. And that's kind of how I put it together. But for me, honestly, it's just unfortunately I'm that lifter that gets hurt a lot, and it kind of sucks because I'm known as the guy that can like bounce back from stuff and come back from stuff. But that's getting pretty fucking old after a decade. I just want to be able to put together like 2 to 3 good meets and be like, all right, we're good. I'm happy with what I did. So yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, so basically you're one of the lifters. It's like all the pieces of the puzzle are there, but you just got to build that puzzle for one meet or a few meets, like you said.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I really think I was approaching that. So my PR total is 1951 at 242. Like I said, there's been things that went on that like kind of kept me away from a PR total. The whole hamstring pop, and like I had a pretty bad knee tweak a few weeks out from the meet, where like if those two things didn't happen, I probably would have won at least like 1983, in my opinion. And then the way I performed at the meet, somehow I went 9 for 9. Everything moved pretty damn good. The only thing that didn't go awesome was a squat. I went 3 for 3, 771, but like I need to be able to squat a few weeks in a row to lift at least 8. So just not fucking anything up before the next meet. Like, but again, at the same time, it's going to happen. I always tell my lifters, like in every 12 to 13 week period, expect 2 weeks total of like having to back off or even skip a workout to some extent because of some sort of like nuisance. So I just have to prepare for that.
Yeah, and for you with going through these injuries and kind of being able to try to stay in one piece, what are some of the maybe tactics or things you've done over the years to kind of either stay on top of recovery or just kind of make sure you're holding up?
So for me, the big thing is time management, stress management, and really just auditing my time every day. Like I have to treat everything like it's a full-time job. Like I got this planner here. It's all by the half hour. So my days start anywhere from 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. every morning. So I got to play my personal training sessions. I'll have to write in my 30-minute blocks to do like, I guess people call mobility, which is just like what I call movement work where it keeps me healthy. My meals, my hydration, Haven't gotten on top of sleep yet because I just said the whole 4 and 5 in the morning thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just not a good sleeper as it is. But it's just doing my best to optimize every single thing in my life without anything interfering with each other to negate something. But of course, like there's seasons in life when I have a meet coming up, some things have to go on the back burner. When I don't have a meet coming up, I just do what I need to do to stay in the gym, stay healthy, get my work in, which is like the season I'm in now. You just have to be realistic with yourself, and I shouldn't say that because realistic's a weird word to me, but honest with yourself and really, really do that whole self auditing thing to be where you need to be.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's something that as I'm becoming I guess a full grown adult in this world, it's kind of that interesting area of like, all right, what needs to be moved up in priorities and kind of shuffle down and shuffling that all around, but kind of still keeping that whole powerlifting thing is like, this is what I do, but other things obviously take priority at some points, and you got
Yeah.
to be able
Like,
to.
how old are you?
25.
Yeah. So it's funny from, because I started at 17, from like 17 to 23, 24. Shit, it might actually be like 25. Powerlifting was my life, dude. Like, I worked as a busboy, waiter, whatever at a local restaurant. 3 to 8, 3 to 9 was like my work, maybe 4 or 5 times a week. Didn't really have any overhead. I very like my biggest added workload is when I wanted to make a little extra money, and I worked a couple towns up as a security at a bar, but only on weeknights because I wasn't dealing with that weekend shit. Um, so it was really just all lifting. Like, I would drop college classes so I could still squat with my friends. Um, yeah, I didn't give a fuck, but I still don't give a fuck about a lot of stuff because I rather lift.
Yeah.
But um, that's how it was. And then for whatever reason, I decided to get a real job at the gym because I graduated college, the bachelor's degree in criminology. Why? I don't know. I just, school was paid for. I was expected to go. I did it. Did nothing for me. Um, but if I didn't go, the timeline probably wouldn't have matched up where I started working at that gym, falling into owning my own gym, et cetera, et cetera. So it all worked out, obviously. But that's the thing. It was just when I got that real job, when I started working those long hours at the gym and like have pressure on sales and had to build a personal training clientele, I had a hard time managing that. So from like full responsibility, injuries or not, 2017 to 2020 was me just not being able to be an adult, manage my time, do everything I needed to do on a structured basis, and prioritize myself. I just woke up super early, went home, took a nap, did a half-assed workout, skipped my accessories, thinking I could still do what I used to do. Not fucking happening.
Yeah, and I think when you the time management thing is such an important thing, and I think luckily I was able to kind of have a good basis for time management through just kind of doing two sports in college and being at a school like that. Just kind of you learn how to figure it out. And the way my school worked was we did quarters, so everything was faster paced. So like you had to be on top of your shit, especially with like a full 40-hour week of football. So it's been helpful, and it's something that I try to kind of help my other friends with that have maybe didn't have that same experience. But as far as a couple of things for King Queen of the platform, are any things that you want to implement this year, maybe something new, or do you kind of think you have it down to what you want it to be?
Um, I think I have it down to what I want it to be. Like just little things. Like we need to improve the actual platform. Like no pun intended. Like the carpet rip this year was, and it's just a pain in the ass. Like transporting it. Like just little things like that. Because I'm not good at the whole like manual labor stuff. Um, like I just have people do it for me. But I need to get a little better at that and figure out like some stuff of my own. Probably plan ahead a little better, just so like sponsorships and stuff are finalized a little sooner than last minute because then I'm like scrambling to get shirts done
Yeah.
and all that shit. But as the meet itself, I kind of like where it's at, and I'm never going to refer to it as a pro meet. This upcoming year, I'm doing something a little different, but and that's to put King of the Platform on one day, session one, about 30 to 35 quote unquote amateurs, and then 500 dots minimum for the second session. Kind of like Ghosted,
Yeah.
but I can't overfill it because I don't want people to be there all day
Yeah.
and do the same thing for Queen of the Platform. And that way it's not like such a crazy day both days.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with these awesome meets too is like you want to let everybody in, but you have to be able to like be like, all right, what's the most I can handle, but allow the most amount of people, and it's kind of that balancing act.
Yeah, and it's really hard from a business standpoint because these meets, 99% of meets have a no refund policy. So, and I'll admit it, like there are a part of my business plan is we put the entries out early. You have a lot of people that just want to get in early and sign up for it. More so on the men's side, they have all these big ass goals. They get injured X amount of weeks out because they realize that magic 12-week cycle is not going to put 100 pounds on the total,
Yep.
and they drop out. And I keep track of that. And typically it works every time where the dropouts pay for my staff.
Oh wow.
And that's like a reduced stressor where they can just do that. The more the rest of the money can go towards the sponsorships because I budget everything like accordingly.
Yeah.
And we have to make money as well. Like we can't do this for free. Um, I'll say that too. Like it's funny to me when I talk to Alex Uslar about this sometimes, but like you have all these meet directors saying, "Oh, I do this for free. I make no money." Like you're not even giving out prize money. You're doing it at your own gym. You got 50 people in your meet. You barely pay your spotters.
Yeah.
How are you not making money? Like, do you just say that or do you just lose it?
Yeah, no,
It's
100%. Especially as like I ran my own meet back in March, and I'm running another one this year in March, and it's like you kind of once I stepped into that role of meet director, like I learned a lot of things about like what the hell are some of these meet directors doing? Like, yeah, you're not making enough money to fucking go on a vacation and for 2 months, but
yeah,
like you're not making anything.
yeah. The math isn't math. Like
Hmm.
I just don't get that. Like because it's fake. It's just like the whole thing. Like, oh, I don't take any drugs. I just take a little bit of TRT. It's like, okay, yeah, sure, bro.
Yeah, but I think we can wrap things up here. So I'll ask you my final question. If you could give a new lifter or someone going into their first meet a word of advice, what would you tell them?
You asked this on the questionnaire, right? And I wrote it down. Fuck, what did I say? Um, let's see if I'm consistent with what I wrote. I would say just go in there, have fun, obviously. Go in with a plan, do your research before so you have like the best day you could. But more importantly, when you're there, don't be afraid to ask the lifters around you. Out of every 20, which is a pretty good ratio, you might have one or two assholes.
Yeah.
But no one's that big of an asshole to treat you like shit and not help you. Um, so yeah, just go there. Of course, the generic blah blah blah. Don't have any expectations. This is your first meet, but get your baseline numbers. If you love the sport after that, take those baseline numbers, pick another meet, build towards that. Do that second meet, audit yourself in terms of did I prepare well? What could have I done different? Then go to the third one, and then just keep doing it and compete often as well when you first start.
Yeah.
Don't fall into the trap of like unless you're a freak athlete who like totals 1,700 pounds off the bat, compete 3 to 5 times a year. Like you don't need a 12-week prep cycle to do a powerlifting meet when you start out.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think that's something that we talked about all the other end of like, yeah, once you're at this point, like you shouldn't be doing 3 meets a year, but no one really
Yeah.
addresses the fact that like if you're making 100-pound gains to your total every 3 months, like just compete, like just keep building
Yeah.
that total. Why not?
Yeah. You don't need a peak when you're a beginner.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
and I'm still not even sold on peaking at our level. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I'm sold on it, but it's not as big of a thing as people act like,
for,
especially if your training is set up accordingly.
for sure. And so I want to thank you again for taking the time to come on. It was my pleasure.
Thanks, man.
Listen, I don't have a beard. I've got this glorious mustache. But even this stash deserves elite care. That's where Wicked Wolf Beard Co. comes into play. Their oils and balms keep the face fuzz fresh, soft, and ready for action. No crusty cowboy nonsense here. It smells great, feels great, and makes me look more like I lift heavy things. Beard, mustache, or something in between, Wicked Wolf's got your mug covered. Wicked Wolf Beard Co. Respect the stash. Head on over to Wicked Wolf Beard Co. and use code PLDEN for 25% off your order.